my fellow Americans. A short time ago, I ordered the United States Armed Forces to launch precision strikes on targets associated with the chemical weapons capabilities of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. A combined operation with the armed forces of France and the United Kingdom is now underway. We thank them both. To Iran and to Russia, I ask, what kind of a nation wants to be associated with the mass murder of innocent men, women, and children? The nations of the world can be judged by the friends they keep. Hopefully, someday we'll get along with Russia and maybe even Iran, but maybe not. Over the last year, nearly 100% of the territory once controlled by the so-called ISIS Caliphate in Syria and Iraq has been liberated and eliminated. The United States has also rebuilt our friendships across the Middle East. So today, the nations of Britain, France, and the United States of America have marshaled their righteous power against barbarism and brutality. Tonight, I ask all Americans to say a prayer for our noble warriors and our allies as they carry out their missions. We pray that God will bring comfort to those suffering in Syria. We pray that God will guide the whole region toward a future of dignity and of peace.
Question: are American-made, genetically modified Nephilim soldiers fighting in Syria? American Christians, I mean, even the church has this warlike mentality.
Yes.
We're Americans. We can bomb any country we want to bomb.
Because we're Americans.
We're Americans, and we're going to sit here in our living room and watch it on TV. And it's never going to happen to us. They're convinced that all this stuff happens. You know, all these Bible prophecies are going to be fulfilled, but nothing happens in America.
Right.
You're still going to go to Walmart. You're still going to the movies. Everything's going to be the same. And it's just a delusion that's in the American people. Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia,
yes,
made a, let's say, a cryptic reference. He said Russia has evidence that another nation that seeks to get involved in Syria carried out a false chemical attack in Russia. So,
because our specialists haven't found any traces of the use of chlorine or any other chemical weapons. In fact, we have evidence that this was a false flag operation spearheaded by those who promote Russophobic ideas.
okay, so we already know who it is, but who was he when you heard that? Who did you think he was alluding to?
I thought he was alluding to the U.S. myself. I mean, that's where I was leaning, in that particular direction. How about you, Edward?
The defense spokesman actually gave context to this, so people could stop guessing. I was with Doc. I thought he was talking about the West in some form, but the defense spokesman, Igor Konashikov, said specifically he was referring to the British, Her Majesty's soldiers.
Most of the stuff that we think happened never happened.
Yes. In this false flag event that took place in Syria, they had some practice. They had just a month ago. They had the nerve agent with, attack with the X-Spy Scribbles.
Right.
And so they've already had some practice. Still, no evidence on that either.
No evidence
None
at all. And the two people miraculously healed of nerve agent exposure. All right. And nobody's questioning, something sounds weird about this story. But they just continue with it because the public is gullible. That's the bottom line. The public is gullible. They believe this stuff. They don't use their minds anymore. Right. There's so much fluoride soaked into their brain cells. They can't think. So many pharmaceutical drugs in their body, they can't think anymore. And the people just accept whatever they're told on television. And so the U.S. and Britain, they know that they can get away with these fake stories. And the whole thing was recorded, all right, with this chaos taking, you only need 10 seconds of video.
Yes.
Right.
How much have you really seen? How much have they shown you? Seconds.
Yes.
Seconds. And you see people, you see doctors with garden hoses washing down people who've been exposed to chemical weapons, and they're not wearing any hazmat protective gear. You stand there with a garden hose, and I saw one guy, he had flip-flop sandals on.
Yes.
The water's running off the patient on his feet.
They were asking for physical evidence. In this regard, Rick, we're saying 60 dead, 1,000 injured. That's the official marker.
Yes.
You're
Where are
telling
they?
me you don't
Yes.
have anything physically to present?
Where's
of
the
that?
corpses?
Exactly.
Where are the victims?
The one today was they dragged them off. They dragged them off. Those 60 corpses and those 1,000 injured, they've been taken away from the city.
Who took them?
The rebels. The rebels were
The
taking
rebels
them with
came
them
in
when
and
they
took the
fled.
bodies.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
Also, Russia's ambassador to the United Nations told the West to think twice before starting a war. I mean, the comments are becoming more pointed, more direct. You've got to be really dense not to understand what they're telling us.
Это представить, даже не очень теоретически, а уже можно практически представить, что человек может создавать человека с заданными характеристиками. Это может быть гениальный математик, это может быть гениальный музыкант, но может быть и военный, человек, который может воевать без страха и без чувства сострадания, сожаления и без боли. То есть, вы понимаете, человечество может вступить, и, скорее всего, вступит в ближайшее время, в очень сложный и очень ответственный период своего развития и существования. И вот то, о чем я сейчас сказал, может быть страшнее ядерной бомбы.
He knows something's going on. I mean, he really does. That there are efforts now being made to create new kinds of life, in this case, super soldiers.
Is it conceivable that the U.S. has released into Syria genetically modified super soldiers? And we had touched on the topic that, you know, when ISIS was introduced to the world, nobody had ever heard of ISIS.
Right.
And we were shocked by their barbaric behavior.
Yes.
I mean, cut children in half with swords, decapitated people,
Burn people alive in
burned
cages.
them alive in cages, impaled pastors on the crosses in their church. All right, we were shocked, horrified by the bloody, savage behavior of these people. Vladimir Putin accused the West several years ago of supporting savages that eat human organs.
Yes.
That is an ISIS fighter. There's a Syrian soldier on the ground that he had just killed. And in the video, this ISIS soldier takes his knife, opens up the soldier's chest, removes his heart and his liver, and eats it.
Yes.
And Vladimir Putin accused David Cameron to his face,
Yes.
the Prime Minister of Great Britain. He said, you support these savages that eat human organs.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Putin has known for some time that we're doing something in Syria that nobody has ever seen before. Is that what we have created? Have we turned these monsters loose in Syria? And are the Russians now saying, we've got to stop this?
Particularly, we've been watching what the reaction from the Russian government is. They claim that these strikes are an attack against them. Now, Syria right now is the battleground for a number of different conflicts and a few proxy wars that are ongoing there. Russia and Iran are allied with the Assad regime there, essentially keeping it in power. The Russian ambassador to the United States has just provided a statement. Anatoly Antonov, he says, quote, "Again, we are being threatened. We warn that such actions will not be left without consequences." Now, over the past several days, Russia has warned against an attack on its ally, the Assad regime. The UK, the US, France, and others have fought with Russia at the United Nations Security Council over this. Russia has denied the chemical weapons attack and then blamed the British government for staging it. Russia agreed in 2013 to destroy Syria's chemical weapons. The Secretary of State designee, Mike Pompeo, acknowledged publicly that the U.S. military has already killed hundreds of Russians in one particular fight and attack there. There were previous reports that those Russians were mercenaries fighting with forces there.
Trump decided to send some missiles into Syria. Now, funny, because just a few hours ago I uploaded a video describing why I don't think World War III is going to happen, and even though today's events were unexpected to me, I still don't think that's going to happen. Even though a lot of people out there are very concerned, very worried, very scared that these attacks on Syria are going to lead to World War III. Trump attacking Assad outright makes no sense. I think we can all agree on that. It makes no sense. But what does make sense? What does make sense is that, well, what if Trump and Syria and Russia are all completely LARPing the shit out of everybody and using this as an opportunity to attack some deep state proxy targets? About a year ago, when Trump sent those 60 or 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles into Syria the first time, I was thinking, this just doesn't make sense for Trump to be attacking Assad. But if Assad was in on it and Russia was in on it and Trump was actually sending those cruise missiles in to hit some deep state targets, well, that makes a lot of sense. And it could very well be the same this time. On the mainstream level, he can't say he's attacking deep state targets, right? He has to play theater. He has to, like I said, play the LARP. So that's why he could have changed his mind like that. Russia did not take down any of the missiles. They completely let them all through. So this is showing us that Russia could very well be in on it. And I've even seen that Assad skipped town. He left Syria a few days ago. So, Assad might have known as well. Maybe they got some hints beforehand that this was going down, so Russia let the missiles through and Assad skipped town. And I've also seen that many of these missiles are hitting Hezbollah targets. So that's why I'm saying these attacks could very well be hitting deep state proxies behind the scenes, behind what we're seeing on a superficial level. I've seen that it was only a handful of cruise missiles, like 5, I think I saw the number was. That's not confirmed, but that's not a huge amount of force there. I think this is simply an attack on evil, and on the superficial level, if you don't have those deeper pieces of evidence or those deeper dots to connect, on the superficial level, it's going to look like it's Trump attacking Assad and bringing us into World War III, he's just another neocon, deep state operative controlled puppet, and we all got LARPed by Q, and it's all bullshit, right? But that doesn't really make any sense from the big picture. Maybe it makes sense when you compartmentalize your thinking, but we can't compartmentalize our thinking in this instance. We have to see it big picture. So